So just a quick chat about losing posture in the backswing, what influence that has over the club, and then the effect that has on the way down with ball striking and shots. So let's start with the most common one we see, which is players standing up in the backswing. Usually happens when we see players with too much forward bend, pressures on the toes, weights over the ball, and they stand up into arguably a better position. Or you might get the player that stands okay and has to stand up more to help them turn more. But either way, watch what happens to the club. Let's start in a decent position here. I'll take the club back and I'll stand up. Now you can see the club's very laid off, pointing left of target. It's a long way behind me. My hands are quite deep as well. Now, I've got to get back down to the golf ball to strike this. So we occasionally see that. Bit weird, but I've seen people sit back down to try and do it. And more often we see this. They add that forward bend back in. But you can see the problem now. What's happening when I'm bending back down to the ball, the club starts going steep and in front. So there's always some sort of compromise, and it's usually the hips early extending and some sort of maneuvering here with the hands and early releasing the club to try and make some sort of meaningful contact on the ball. So it doesn't work standing up and falling back down. That's quite a tough move because it affects strike and club face massively. The other one that's less common, which we see, is where players tilt more in the swing. Now, the opposite's true. When I stand up, hands go deep, shafts laid off very flat behind me. But if I bend forward more, shaft's quite steep. So if I take it away and add more bend, shaft steep, very not deep. Let's call it that. So the hands are over my toes rather than being way behind my heels. So when players take it back and bend forward, it's hard to get the hands deep in here, so everything's steep and in front. But again, you wouldn't want to carry on turning like that because you just bury the ball into the ground. So players find a way of hitting it, and usually it's a similar thing with early extending. And as you early extend, the club falls behind. So now the club's on its own. If the club was there, that's not a bad position because your body is doing this. It's hard to turn, and you end up having to use your hands, lots of forearm rotation through the ball to try and hit the target. But again, club face is very inconsistent, so is the strike. So adding, losing the amount of tilt is not great either way. A quick tip, if you are someone that has this forward bend, feel as though you're up against the wall, and if anything, feel like you're moving away from it slightly. Very quick tip that. You might have seen me do one the other day where rather than stand up in the swing, if you feel you're firing a bow and arrow at the ball, your left shoulder goes lower, right shoulder goes higher, and you wouldn't stand up because this is happening. So 2 mini tips for you there, and give those a go, or leave some comments down below, or send your swings in on Skillist to me if you need specific feedback to you. But losing posture, either way, not ideal on the backswing.